I know a lot of you have been watching, especially on social media, when I post videos of my backyard garden. And so I just wanted to make a YouTube video about it and sort of the season of growing that we go through. Our garden is directly behind our house, which makes it very convenient. We live in town, but we can just walk outside and gather tomatoes or corn or broccoli or whatever it is that we're growing. So I want to take you through just the beginning of the season, which is usually about mid-May when we plant our garden, and sort of what it looks like, and then I'll progress through the summer. And then at the end, I want to show you what it's looking like now that it's the end of the summer and we're getting ready to go into fall. So we're starting to already dig some things up and throw them away because they're drying up, and this is very typical. So I'm going to show you again some of the videos from earlier in the year, and then I'm going to take you through the garden now to show you what it looks like now. I think you might enjoy it just looking at the plants. These are some strawberry plants that we have in our backyard. Some years they do fairly well, other years not. We do have some flowers, a few flowers in the backyard, as well as several herbs that we grow. And then these are some of the early plants that we planted, some cabbages, as well as some broccoli. We also have rhubarb growing back there that comes up every year. And then we planted zucchini and squash and cucumbers from plants. We buy them as plants, and they're very small this time of the year in May. And then these are some tomatoes and some peppers, and we buy those as plants, but all of it was small. It was right after planting our garden. And then we have, from seed, we planted some corn as well as some green beans. And so that was just starting to come up at that point in May. This is more cucumbers and different types of squash, some winter squash as well as yellow squash, zucchini. There were some cherry tomatoes along the fence line, but they're so small you can barely see them at this point. But you'll see over in this other little section that I grow a lot of greens. So there's a lot of lettuce and spinach. There's some garlic in there and different types of lettuce, as well as some squash growing over there, kind of voluntary squash. But this is one of my favorite areas of the garden because it has a lot of greens, and I can just go out and pick them and make me a salad. You can see at this point that things are starting to grow. The flowers are starting to bloom more, and cabbages are getting bigger. We really enjoyed our flowers this year. They just keep growing every year and getting bigger, and yeah, we're just really enjoying them. And the herbs were bigger. Cabbages are really at this point getting to the point of being able to pick them and make some good coleslaw or cabbage rolls or whatever. You can tell that the squash and the cucumbers and everything is starting to produce at this point and just looks so healthy. So we really enjoyed all the plants this year, just got so much from the garden. The tomatoes were producing at this point in the year, but they were not ripe yet. Usually that happens about August. So we were seeing a lot of tomatoes on the vine, but they were not ripe, and we were eagerly awaiting because that's one of our favorites. And same with the peppers, which were a row over there, several different peppers they were starting to produce as well. And the corn was getting bigger and not quite ready for harvest yet, but getting bigger. And you can see the green beans are growing, and more cucumbers and different kinds of squash towards the back of the garden there. Everything was just starting to grow and take off. That's a long cucumber vine there, and we did really well with cucumbers this year. And then on the back fence is the cherry tomatoes, and they were starting to produce already. Now you're going to see a huge difference. You can tell that the cabbage has gotten a lot bigger. The flowers are obviously taller and just blooming, absolutely beautiful. The herbs were all smelling good and growing, and just look how beautiful and healthy everything looks. Squash there producing, zucchini was producing. We had a great year for cucumbers this year, I think better than we ever have. So got a lot of produce from the garden this year. Again, I have to give credit where credit is due. My husband kept the garden watered. I did help some, but he did the majority of the work. Again, the tomatoes at this point are not quite ripe. That kind of happens towards the end of the season. But we certainly were picking peppers and cabbage and broccoli and other things from the garden. Lots of zucchini, lots of squash. But we did have a lot of tomatoes, but they didn't ripen until a little bit later. But just beautiful. Because I'm going to show you what the garden looks like now and how things have changed through the season. So I have one more little short clip that I want to show you, so hang with me so you can watch that. Be sure and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already. It's very helpful to me, and I would appreciate it if you would. So let's take a look at the garden now. thanks for walking through the garden with me and watching it as it progressed through the season. We've enjoyed it so much. I just a couple of days ago planted some more greens over in our small section of our garden because those will grow and I'll be able to eat greens, lettuce, and different kinds of greens out of that section until the first frost, which typically is the end of October, 1st of November. So we enjoy the backyard garden, and I thought you might enjoy watching it too. Guys, always remember there's power in our plate, and what we eat and what we grow and what we buy at the grocery store really does make a difference. Thanks for joining me.